Do you want to be at your happy weight, maintain it with little to no effort, and never diet again? If that's a yes, then this podcast is for you. Welcome to The Perfect Gauge. I'm your host, Caroline Trickey, dietitian and eating psychology coach, and I'm so glad you're here. If you were with us for the last episode, we discussed the first step of the Perfect Gauge process: eat when your body is hungry. And I mentioned some of the skills you need in order to take this step. So today we're moving on to the second of the three steps: eat what your body wants. Now, when I first mention this to clients, they'll get really excited, at least initially. Then reality kicks in, and I often see a concerned or even terrified look come over their face just before they say, "I can't do that. I can't eat what I want. I'll just eat pizza and donuts and chocolate, and I'll gain a bunch of weight." And it's here that I point out that this step says to eat what your body wants. It's not eat with abandon or eat without consideration for how that food makes you feel. I also remind them it's only one of three steps, that they're also to eat when they're hungry and stop when they've had enough. But you can absolutely eat what you want and lose weight. So this step is about eating what you want, what tastes good, but also what helps you to feel good. After all, you want to feel alive and energized every day of your life, right? It's actually important to eat what you want, and I know how much of a foreign concept this is if you've spent any time dieting. But if you don't eat what you want, what you truly enjoy, you'll struggle to feel satisfied, which is a big part of knowing when you've had enough. So let's say you're out for dinner and you really want lasagna, but you think, "Oh, I shouldn't eat lasagna because it's got too many calories in it, or it's fattening or whatever." So you order the salad. The salad comes, you eat it, it tastes okay. You notice you're full, but you're not satisfied. And before you know it, you're asking to look at the dessert menu. The reason most of us struggle with even just the thought of eating what we want is because of diet mentality. Diet mentality is the mindset that there are good foods and bad foods, foods you're allowed to eat, and those that are off limits for whatever reason it happens to be this week. Usually it's too much sugar or fat or carbs. And when you even think about eating those foods, you think to yourself, "I can't do that if I ever want to lose weight." And if you do eat them, you feel like you're doing something dreadfully wrong. And then you tell yourself you were so, quote, bad, but that you promise to be, quote, good tomorrow. There's this idea that what you eat makes you a good or bad person, and then you wonder why losing weight feels so damn hard. Losing weight is not a morality issue. Having extra weight on your body doesn't make you a bad person. Eating pizza or chocolate or ice cream doesn't make you a bad person, in the same way that eating salad doesn't make you good. What makes you a bad person is robbing and stealing from people, scamming people. Your food choices have nothing to do with if you're good or bad. Ordering pizza at the end of a hard day instead of cooking yourself a healthy meal doesn't make you a bad person. If anything, it may mean you only know one way to deal with stress. But that doesn't make you bad. That actually makes you pretty bloody normal. It's how most of us are taught how to deal with our emotions, to eat or drink to make ourselves feel better. I mean, just watch any show on TV. It's glorified. People are talking about how they've had such a long day that they need a drink. Do you want a drink? Let's have a drink. Or they're so tired, or it's getting late and they haven't got anything for dinner, so they'll order pizza. So it's pretty normal. So one of the first skills I work on with clients in order to do this step is that they first need to let go of the morality around food, along with all the dieting rules and restrictions they've come to believe. Because you weren't born thinking this way about food. It's something you learned along your journey through this thing called life. You've collected these rules over the course of your life from society, friends, family, diet culture, and the health industry, After all, food rules are everywhere and impossible to avoid. You accept these rules as the truth. You believe them, you take them on board, and make them your rules about what you can and can't do. And when you believe these food rules, the struggle is real. You live life from that place, in fear of eating the wrong thing. And before you know it, you're breaking the rules and eating whatever bad food you shouldn't be eating and feeling bad. Then going back and eating a whole lot more to try and make yourself feel good again. But have you ever questioned any of these beliefs? When I ask my clients this question, they look at me strangely, and I'll often get a comment like, well, everyone knows that carbs are fattening. But is that really true? And how do you know it's true? More importantly, how do you know if that is true for you? Many, many years ago, I believed that bread was fattening, so I would try to avoid it. But I also love bread, especially freshly baked sourdough. After all, it is delicious. So I'd go to war inside myself about not eating the bread I desperately, desperately wanted. And then I'd usually crack and eat half a loaf. But when I decided to give up dieting and allowed myself to eat what I wanted, I discovered that I could eat bread and not gain weight, because I also realized there was nothing I couldn't have tomorrow, so there was no reason to eat it all today. And that's one of the biggest problems about rules. You have them and hold on to them for dear life because you believe you need them so you'll have control around food. But how's that working out for you? It certainly didn't work for me. It actually gave me less control as I couldn't resist forever. Then, when I'd eat what I, quote, wasn't allowed, I felt out of control, would eat it quickly, almost in a frenzied state, eat a lot of it, and hardly notice the food. And that is not a pleasant experience. So here's a really important scientific fact that I want to share with you. It will hopefully help you start questioning many of your current food rules and beliefs. No food is fattening. That's right, no food is fattening, not even chocolate. The simple fact is, it's not a specific food that causes you to gain weight. It's eating more food than you physically need over a period of time. When you eat more than your body needs, it very cleverly turns the excess into fat and puts it into storage. That is how you gain weight. So no one food is fattening. And gaining weight from eating more than you need will happen whether you eat salad, lasagna, or ice cream or pizza. If you overeat on salad, it will lead you to gain weight. It's the same as overeating on pizza. Now, of course, it's much easier to overeat on something like pizza than it is with salad, but the fact remains that if you're gaining weight, you're overeating. You're eating more than what your body needs. It's the amount of food, not the food. Which is great news, right? Since if you tell yourself that certain foods are off limits, you're essentially placing them on the pedestal of desire. It's like saying to a child, whatever you do, don't open that shiny, mysterious-looking box in that cupboard. What do you think the child will fixate on for the rest of the day? Yep, that forbidden box. The same principle applies to adults and forbidden food. The more you try to avoid a certain food and suppress your cravings, the stronger they become, which can create a constant and exhausting mental battle that feels unbearable because you fixate on and crave the very foods you're trying to avoid. When all food is back on the menu from which you get to choose, it dissolves this forbidden fruit effect. Of course, I talk about allowing yourself to eat what you want, what your body wants, in a matter-of-fact sort of way. And I know from working on this with hundreds of clients and doing it myself that it isn't that easy. It's not like you can just push a button or flick a switch and suddenly do it. But as I've already mentioned, I have a series of skills that I share with my clients to make it easier and doable. Letting go of food rules and diet restrictions is just one of them, but it is a very important skill as it has the potential to also dismantle any desire to emotionally eat as well. Now, I want you to notice that step 2 specifically says eat what your body wants. It doesn't say eat what your mind wants. As I mentioned in the last episode, often it's your mind telling you when to eat, not your body. And your mind also loves to tell you what to eat. So this is another skill I work on with my clients, noticing how your body feels when you eat certain foods. And it can be at this point that clients want a diet plan from me. They'll say something like, "Oh, this feels too hard. I'd rather you just tell me what to eat and I'll do it." And I know this comes from the diet and fitness industry, which thrives by making you believe that there are certain foods you need to eat in order to lose weight, because that's how they sell their products and programs. And let's face it, it's much easier to hand someone a meal plan than to take the time to help them understand and work this out for themselves. But that is how you get lasting results. After all, you can't keep asking other people or follow a meal plan for the rest of your life. So you really do need to learn how to work this out for yourself. And I break it down for my clients in a way so that's actually not that hard. After all, we want to eat differently. We all have different likes and dislikes, foods that agree with us and foods that don't. Some of us like really spicy food, while others prefer simpler, blander food. Some of us like salads in summer and soups in winter. Others want to eat salads in winter and soup in summer. We're all so very, very different. Thank goodness, hey, as wouldn't life be boring if we were all exactly the same? But that's how diets treat us, like we're all the same and want to eat the same food. So we must all be able to choose for ourselves. And choosing for yourself sure makes living life on your terms easier when you're out for dinner or on holidays or traveling for work. Plus, in the same way that nobody else knows when you're hungry, only you know what your body wants to eat in that particular moment. Regardless of what the diet industry says, you can trust your body to guide you. Most of the time when you want or crave a particular food, that request is not coming from your body, it's coming from your mind. And if you react quickly and eat without checking to see what's happening first, you can feed your body food it doesn't want or need. So I want to ask if there are other areas of your life where you don't immediately act on your desires. So let's say someone really pisses you off and you want to snap back or yell back at them, but you don't, right? Or, for example, I was at the shops the other day and saw this gorgeous pink cashmere jumper that I really, really wanted, but didn't buy it. Why not? Well, it might have had something to do with the price tag, but I could have been completely indulgent and bought it. So the mere desire or craving for something doesn't mean you have to have it or that you should act on that desire straight away. Getting in touch with what your body wants is very different from listening to your mind. You can't rush this step. It takes time. It's a process. It takes time to trust yourself. Trust develops when you allow yourself choice. Trust builds when you choose to make yourself comfortable and take care of yourself. Trust also develops through real experiences where you learn to decide which desires to act on because you realize there are consequences with certain choices. However, a balance can exist between not depriving yourself of the food you want when you're hungry and giving your body what it actually wants. People mistakenly think anyone who eats well must have amazing discipline and willpower, but the truth is they do it because they enjoy it. They feel good when they eat this way, which is what keeps them doing it. And it's a different kind of feeling good than what eating pizza and donuts and chips provides. It's a grounded kind of feeling good, a calm but energized kind of feeling good. So this step is really about learning how to best fuel your body. And in order to do this, you need to listen to your body and be really honest about how some foods affect your body. Really listen and see how what you eat plays out. For example, I used to eat porridge for breakfast. My husband loves it and would make it for me too. But I would find it didn't keep me full for very long. I paid attention to how my body felt, and about an hour or so later, I'd get really hungry. Whereas peanut butter on toast keeps me going until lunchtime. So guess what? That's what I have for breakfast most mornings. I love peanut butter on toast, and it keeps me satisfied until lunch. So you want to pay attention when you eat to how food feels and how it tastes. You want to enjoy what you eat because while food is meant to fuel us, it's also there to provide pleasure and joy. This is why it's so important to untie good food, bad food mentality. Because when you want to lose weight, it's not about eating certain foods and avoiding others. It's about letting go of the idea that some foods are morally good or bad so that you can listen to your body. Truly listen to your body and be honest with what it tells you. And when you approach your food from that place of being fully aware, then you don't ever have to listen to what anybody else says ever again about what you should or shouldn't eat. You can allow your body to tell you what it wants, and you'll know how it's going to respond. You deserve to be able to eat the foods you love and lose weight. You deserve to be able to eat them in a way that feels good and so that you truly enjoy them. And remember that eating what your body wants is only one of the 3 steps of the Perfect Gauge process. And while each step absolutely works well on its own, they're better together. So that's what I have for you today. Start allowing yourself to eat what your body wants when you are hungry. And join me next week when we examine the 3rd and final step of the Perfect Gauge process, stop when you've had enough. So make sure to tune in next week, and thank you so much for joining me today.